YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. All right, so it's up in the air right now as to whether Auburn is going to have any type of spring practice, let alone the formal type of spring practice that we're accustomed to. Because down in the Deep South, this is usually a pretty exciting time when it comes to spring training and players getting ready for this particular football season. Auburn has had some plenty of coaching changes this year, but one of the mainstays on Auburn's coaching staff, especially since 2013 and being a part of Gus Malzahn's staff, is Kodi Burns. Kodi Burns is currently the wide receivers coach / passing game coordinator. Now, Kodi Burns came to Auburn as a football player back in 2007. He was a very highly recruited quarterback out of Arkansas. As a matter of fact, he was rated as the number 8 dual threat quarterback in the country. While at Auburn, he, was instrumental in Auburn's 23-20 win in the Sugar Bowl against Clemson, but later changed positions to wide receiver. As a matter of fact, while he was a wide receiver, he actually, in the Wildcat position, because occasionally Kodi Burns will be placed in the Wildcat position. In the Wildcat position, he actually threw a pass in the Ole Miss game in 2010 to Cam Newton out of that position. I thought that was a pretty well-designed play for the Auburn Tigers on their way to beating Ole Miss by double digits. And then in the national championship game against Oregon, he actually scored the first touchdown on a 35-yard skinny post route in that game, putting Auburn up 7-3. Auburn will go on to win their first national championship since 1957 by winning over Oregon 22-19 in the BCS national championship game. Kodi Burns came to Auburn staff in 2013 as a graduate assistant, ironically winning another SEC championship and going back to the last BCS championship game that will be played. Auburn actually lost that game, as we know, to Florida State 34-31. Now, when we look at Kodi Burns as a football coach, 2013 grad assistant, 2014 went up the road to Sanford in Birmingham, was a running back coach. The following year, he went over to Middle Tennessee State, which was his first stint as a wide receiver coach, then joined Auburn in 2016 and through 2018 as a wide receiver coach and co-offensive coordinator, then taking on the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach in 2019. Now, Kodi Burns has actually been, somewhat criticized for his lack of developing wide receivers. Now, that can be an argument, but at the same time, we have to understand that Kodi Burns hasn't been a coach for a long time. And before coming to Auburn, he was only a wide receiver coach for 1 year. But I would say that statistically, Kodi Burns has made slow progression as a wide receiver coach. Because if we look at 2016, he had Tony Stevens, who had 487 yards, Marcus Davis with 160, Darius Slayton with 292 yards, Eli Stove with 224, Kyle Davis 248. And we also have to remember during that time, Auburn had Sean White and, had some quarterback issues as well. Had Sean White, just really not the most stellar. Had Jeremy Johnson at that time. And also, having that back and forth three-way battle between Jeremy Johnson, John Franklin III, and Sean White. Sean White actually getting injured in the prior to the Vanderbilt game, threw a pick six against Georgia. Clearly his arm wasn't, as strong as it was during the early portion of the season. So had some struggles there. Now in 2017, you'll see the statistics start to change for Auburn. Auburn has Jarrett Stidham as the quarterback. If you look at the stats dramatically change. Ryan Davis with 815 yards that year. Ryan Davis also Auburn all-time receptions leader at wide receiver. Darius Slayton's stats double 643 yards, Will Hastings with 525. Nate Craig Myers with 283. Eli Stove, 265. Cal Davis at 210. So you can see the dramatic improvement of Auburn at wide receiver in 2017. Kind of the same in 2018. Ryan Davis with 596. Anthony Schwartz with 387. Newcomer Seth Williams showing a lot of promise in that year with 534. And Darius Slayton now just really getting it done in the NFL for the New York Giants at 670 yards. Now, 2019, things kind of tapered off. You know, you got a brand new quarterback in Bo Nix. Wide receiver position kind of hampered with injury early on. Seth Williams having somewhat of a breakout year at 850 yards. Anthony Schwartz, one of Bo Nix's favorites, and you know he battled some injuries at 460. Will Hastings at 222, and Eli Stove was a very important piece at 321. He also will be coming back, but we have to remember Will Hastings and Eli Stove both recovering from an ACL injury, and as it turns out, it looked like as if Eli Stove improved from his injury a little bit more effectively than Will Hastings did. So if we look at Kodi Burns' career, first you're dealing with the inexperience. You're dealing with some inconsistencies at quarterback. But this particular year will be the first year under, you know, really as Kodi Burns gets very comfortable as a coach. He has a experienced quarterback, as he had in Jarrett Stidham, but this guy, Bo Nix, is coming from the ground up. Then I believe that Auburn will have access to a plethora of talent, probably the most talent that Kodi Burns has had in his tenure, especially with Kobe Hudson coming from Troup County. You also have not Will Hastings, but you also have Seth Williams, who will be returning as well. So I think this is going to be a pivotal year for Kodi Burns as a coach to really get some things done, possibly get a wide receiver in the NFL. I think, as far as being a little bit more highly drafted than some of his players in the past. So I think Kodi Burns could be on to a good thing at Auburn, but this is definitely a pivotal year for him. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast Talking Auburn Football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.